Welcome, man. We back again, live again. Listen, I got my beautiful co-host, my man Scott Cloman. Today, believe it or not, I am Jackie Mitchell. But today, gentlemen, we have someone that, man, has been a stellar athlete, stellar person in the community. Just a man of morals, a man of, just morality and fiber, man. We got one of the greatest that ever played in the CFL, Mr. Geroy Simon. Thank you for joining us, sir. Thank you. I'm gonna give
Thank
you
you
a
for
few
having me.
flowers. I'm gonna give you a few flowers, but the career says it all, man. CFL's all-time leading receiver.
Begins to the right side. Play action fake to Brown. New lay on a roll.
7-time All-Star, 3-time Grey Cup champion. Has been on every side of the spectrum in the game. He's been a player, he's been a coach, he's been a scout, and now he's at his illustrious alumnus of Maryland University, representing the GM job there. So we want to give big shouts, big flavor, big flowers to my man, Geroy Simon. Welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Scott, like we said prior to camera, man, I'll let you start off. But like I said, prior to us jumping on, for anyone who doesn't know, all of us go back 25 years, man. So that's crazy to see everyone's still doing well, everyone's still being healthy, and everyone's still being present, man. So great to see you guys and looking forward to just a great show with both.
Yeah, like you said, man, just blessed to be healthy, man. Prayers go out to Chris CJ2K Johnson, just recently diagnosed with ALS, man, and definitely prayers go out to him, man. So for us to just be healthy, man, to be able to sit here and have genuine conversations, that's big. That's big. Man, dude, you had an amazing career. That goes without saying. But tell me, how did it feel like to go out like that? Like to actually have all those accolades. You won obviously two Grey Cups in BC. Then you go to Saskatchewan, which is a rivalry for every
I didn't even win one.
No, like seriously, like when you talk about the 0.01% of that happening, you see what I'm saying? Like, what were the emotions after that, winning that final Grey Cup? And how, like, man, talk about how you felt.
Well, the funny thing is, when I originally went to Saskatchewan, all the years of playing against Saskatchewan, everybody, kind of hates Saskatchewan if you're not a member of the Riders. And, having all the years of playing there and then being in Vancouver where, we were the best team in the city and we always played second fiddle to the Canucks. So I always said that I wanted to go somewhere where football was first in Canada. And when I had the opportunity to go to Saskatchewan, it was at the end of my career, but I knew I could still be a part of something special. I felt like I could help the team win games. I thought I was going there to be the number one receiver. I ended up being the number 3 receiver, but what I brought off the field was more important to what I brought on the field. The one thing that a lot of people never realized about me is it was always important for me to make other players better, to help other players be successful. I always knew I was going to get mine, so my goal was to be able to help the Weston Dresslers, the Rob Baggs, the Darian Durants play their best football, and then ultimately win a championship. So once I got there, once I saw the team that they had put together, I knew that we had a great opportunity to win it, and we just had to keep guiding the ship. Have the veterans help guide the ship in the right direction.
Yeah. I remember watching that game. You scored in that game. Didn't you score in that Grey Cup?
I did. I scored my first two. I scored two touchdowns in the Grey Cup, and my first 2 touchdowns in a championship. So, it was such a rewarding feeling knowing that I was essentially playing my last game, and I scored a couple touchdowns, and then to have BC, who basically exiled me, to beat them in the playoffs and then to go on to win the Grey Cup, that was definitely a rewarding feeling.
Yeah.
That's
and that pose, that was definitely, that was what Jackie was. Hey, You hated to see it if he was on the other side, but it was dope.
Yes.
You had to give it to him. I remember when I first saw it, when I came up here, I was like, oh, I like that. I like that.
I told Scott this, man. You milked
Terry Vaughn.
No. Terry didn't give me problem. I'm talking about guys who I had to really focus, you know what I'm saying, and compete. Because the crazy thing is, like I told Scott, man, because we played BC seemed like every week. You know what I'm saying? We played it more than anybody. I don't care what no one says. But one thing, like he says, receiving core, he had Paris, it was Geroy, it was Clermont. Like, and what they didn't understand about my position, Scott, I'm facing either the best or the second best on every team. So I'm facing this man or Clermont or Paris every play. And so I just appreciate, like I said, just the competitive nature on both sides of it, man. Great competition, great career, man. And it's crazy because I share with Scott, your accolades are something that will always stand. Always stand. Well, this is my thing. Having an incredible list of accolades from your playing days, that competitive nature still drive what you're doing today. And are you still chasing the championship with the same type of fire?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. From the day that I retired, I knew that I wanted to stay in sports and stay in football. So the day I retired, I started as a scout with the Riders, and from that day forward, I wanted to win a championship as a scout, as an executive, as a general manager. So I'm still chasing that to this day. Now I have the unique opportunity now in the job that I'm in is because I work with so many different sports. I work with with football. I work with men's basketball and women's basketball. Those are my three main sports here at the University of Maryland. I have a chance to win the championship in all three sports. But everything I do is all about competition and competitiveness. I have that same drive. Now as I did when I was 25 years old and trying to win, a championship in the CFL. So that never leaves you. I still work my butt off, to be the best that I can be and help our teams be the best that we can be.
Absolutely. That's what it takes. Man. It takes that winning attitude and it becomes contagious. So congratulations on that as well, man.
Thank you.
Definitely, man. But taking it back a little bit, when I was doing a little research on you, I don't know how you did this. So here's your oldest son, is Gervin, right?
Javon. Yep.
Javon, sorry. Javon. It was your freshman year in college.
Yep.
How did you navigate that? Because I'm picturing Mike Hop like me, but Jackie seen me in college. I'm like, man, how did you navigate that, man?
You know what? I had a great support system. I'm from a small town, Johnstown, Pennsylvania. There's 20,000 people there, but my family is everything to me, and we have a great support system. I had my first son. I was 17 or 18 years old, and it was my second semester at university. So if I'd had to do it on my own, I wouldn't have lasted. But my parents, my stepdad, my entire family essentially assisted in helping raise my son Javon. And the crazy thing is, you look at the success that he's had as an individual, you would think that we grew up and we had a silver spoon in our mouth, but it's all about hard work and determination and persistence, all those type things that you get when you come from a small town where you don't have a lot and you have to fight for everything every opportunity that you have.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I want to stay right there and thank you for that segue, Scott. But with your son Jermon, your son Jaden, he goes on. One is at West Point, one is in Calgary. Mm-hmm. Your wife was a figure skater. Now we got a house full of athletes, right? What does dinner look like? Are you able to come in there and take that coaching hat off? And how is a household dynamic? Because we're all athletes, we're all competitive, we all have a particular mindset. How does that work daily within the household communication? And because once again, this is from locker room to reality. You see what I'm saying? So the reality is, is we're barking orders. We used to coaching. We used to this. Now you got to go in the house, and he's got to be like, "Hey, baby," you know what I'm saying? So what's that transition like been for you?
Well, it's we have a ton of athletes, but in the end, we're just a family.
Absolutely.
And my wife right now, she didn't grow up with my kids. Didn't grow up with her. She's a new addition. But when we all come together, we're just family. And I'm the dad, and everybody respects that. But at the same time, all my kids are adults now, so we can do adult things together. But at the same time, I'm still the father. I'm still the head of the household, and everybody respects that. But they also get the respect that they deserve because they grew up and they're now young adults and trying to lead positive lives. But we're still competitive. My son took me out a few weeks ago when I was in Seattle and kicked my butt on the golf course. And we play pickleball, and I beat him up on the pickleball court. I beat up my wife on the pickleball court. So, it's always competition no matter what we're doing.
Absolutely. Keeps everybody young and happy, man. That's dinner. I beat you today. Well, all dinner talks, man. That's classic, man. Congratulations to your sons, man, because they're putting in the work. So that's off to them as well, man, because those are major accomplishments. Because how it is getting West Point. So, congratulations there, brother.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, pickleball, man. That's I started playing.
That's an old person game.
Man, the old people beat me.
They're patient.
It's a fun. I never thought that I would enjoy it so much, though. My girlfriend Kristen and I, we go and play, and it's fun. It's a workout too. It's a workout. It's a workout. Sorry, go ahead.
No, so I started playing tennis when I got the job in Edmonton in 2022. I took my family and we moved to Arizona in the off seasons, and we started playing tennis. And I would always see people playing pickleball, and I used to tell my wife, "We're not playing pickleball till we turn 70." And then I ended up doing a tournament last year in Vancouver. They brought me in for an alumni pickleball tournament, and by the end of the tournament, I was ordering rackets. I got rid of my tennis rackets. I bought the pickleballs. I bought the shoes. I bought the gear, and I'm hooked. I'm hooked, line, and sinker. I play at least 3 days a week. Everybody in my family now plays just because it's such a fun game. It's so competitive, and you can play with everybody. So that's the beautiful thing about it. You can play with. I can play with my mom. I can play with my dad. I can play with my brother, and then my kids. So it's something that it's a game that it's taken off, but it's such a fun experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. I haven't played yet. So y'all gonna make me get out there.
You got to get out there. You got to get out there.
I can play some ping pong, but I ain't never played pickleball.
Well, see, that's
what happened. You be natural then. You be natural.
You took the words out of my mouth because I was a good ping pong. Me and my cousin, Fred Bailey, we played ping pong a lot, and so we were both good at ping pong. And I was like, so my first time playing, I was like, oh, it's like a mixture between tennis and ping pong.
That's right.
It's if you're a good ping pong player, you'll enjoy it, man. You enjoy it. But man, I mean, dude, you had a stretch. And what's impressive, when you look at your college numbers, they were good, but nothing crazy, right? Right? You had your stint in the NFL with a few different teams, and then obviously your first CFL team, Winnipeg, and obviously Milt was the guy, but again, good, but nothing crazy numbers.
Yeah.
Right. Then you go to BC, and like, dude, you go on I was like, you went on a 9-year run, because people talk about in the NFL how they talk about Antonio Brown had a 6-year stretch like no other. Right. Obviously, you got Jerry Rice, what he did, but I would compare what you did as the Jerry Rice
of the CFL.
Of the CFL, because you had a 9-year run where it was like 1,500, 1,600, 13, like consistent. Like what was it? What do you contribute to that? Was it obviously it's a lot going through your off-season training, the mindset, because that's not easy to do, to be that consistent, right? Talk about that, man.
So I always consider myself a late bloomer. I at the beginning of anything, I'm pretty slow in having success because I'm a thinker. I try to understand everything, every fine detail I need to understand before I go full go. Um, and I started playing football when I went to college. I was 17 years old playing games. So, you know, I had the skill, I had ability, but I didn't have the mental maturity to have success. Um, the one thing that I always did was I paid attention to the guys in front of me. So when I was in the NFL, I paid attention to Carl Pickens. I paid attention to Yancey Thigpen. I paid attention to Carl Williams in Tampa. And then when I got to Winnipeg, I paid attention to Milt Stegall. I paid attention to Alan Pitts, and I paid attention to Robert Gordon. And I saw what they did to have success. And my thing was, I was always bigger, stronger, and just as fast as any of those guys, but I didn't have the mental maturity. So when I got the opportunity, when I had my first 1,000-yard season, everybody, was like, "What's going on? How are you having this success?" But they don't remember the year before in 2002 when I was playing with Damon Allen, and he didn't throw me the ball because he was throwing it to Alfred Jackson.
Alfred Jackson.
But I was open all the time. And then when Dave Dickinson came, he saw that and was like, okay, we're going to start throwing him the ball. And he was throwing the ball, I was catching it. And then the thing is, what I really, really did, to really take care of myself is I just invested in my body. I made sure that, I was lifting, I felt like I had probably the best strength and conditioning program here at the University of Maryland. I used that same program my entire career. But then I started doing yoga. I started doing Pilates. I started, doing extra stretching to make sure that the first half of the year, it's you're kind of warming up. But I wanted to be strong going into the second half of the year. And that's why I say I'm a slow starter, because normally I usually start pretty slow, but then I finish pretty strong. And I always wanted to make sure that come week 11, 12 through 18, I was still strong, still fast, and still healthy as I could be to finish strong. And then, I caught lightning in a bottle, and I just kept it, I kept it going as long as I could.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but the thing is, Jack, what's crazy is, he was talking about his first 1,000-yard season. People are like, oh, what's going on? But he didn't it was his first year going over 1,000 yards. He hit 1,600. So of course you go from 700 to say like, well, like that, what's going on? And just for the people out there, I mean, 239 games, that's a lot of football. 1,029 receptions, 16,352 yards, and 103 touchdowns. Like that's, and they go 9 years over 1,000. Like that's, that means people like that. I mean, you have to be on point. You're on point every week, and people don't realize you're getting the mental fortitude that takes. Because you're not 100% half the games.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? The body, to keep your body, cranking like that, you got to invest in your body, and that's your moneymaker. And that's what you did, man. And congrats, man. Kudos to you.
I appreciate it.
And I want to add to that, because you said a very pivotal piece, Scott. And for you young players, even for you old players and guys, just understand personnel means everything. Personnel means everything, because if you're not on the same page, like you said, now I will go on record. Now, this is just my opinion. The first quarterback you named, Damon Allen, I thought he was one of the best athletes I'd ever seen. It just hands down, just boom, boom, boom. But for what you needed and for what happened, two totally different things. You have somebody who came in who's on the same page, but also not on the same page. Trust. You see what I'm saying? Trust.
That's right.
It was a bond there. It was a trust. If I throw this out there, I know Geroy is going to get it. I'm just going, hey, we going to just 50-50. But it was, just think about that. Just, hey, here, go get it. Hey, just so that the timing, the work, like you said, the work that was put into that, the trust that was built, the years that you guys did, and you guys had a great run. You had a great run, man. Absolutely. So, I mean, it's very. I I don't, other than, like I said, you mentioned some names, Pitts, Stiegel. You guys are the ones who stood out to me. You know, you had some guys who had some flashes. You know, I take nothing away from the Moriellis, like you said, the Terry Vaughns and on those guys, but you know, E.T., you know, Elijah Thurman, you know, he played Jermaine Copeland, all these guys. But I'm telling you, and Geroy, I'm gonna ask a question now. Who was the toughest defender, man? Because I know who my toughest holding was. Who was some of your toughest defenders in the CFL that you faced?
The guys that gave me the most trouble were guys like you, the bigger, stronger, faster guys that I couldn't just bully, that I had to really, really work to get open. Brendan Browner is one that he was just so big and strong, and he played so dirty. And I'm not saying dirty like taking cheap
Right.
shots on you, but he was just, you know, if I beat him at the line of scrimmage, he'd grab me from the back of the jersey and slingshot himself back into the play, or he'd hit me just as the whistle was blowing. And you know, those are the guys that's like, oh man, I just, you know, you were a big, strong dude, and I always had to, you know, really, really
Man, I
work to
battled.
get
I
open.
told Scott that. I said, man, I battled this guy, man. Like, I was like,
Donnie
man, I
Brady was, you
appreciated
know,
it.
I
Johnny Brady.
still, you know, got something against Donnie Brady. I if I see him, I'm gonna take him out and do a one-on-one with him. You know, because he was so big, so strong, and so physical. You know, guys like that were just, you know, big, strong, and then they just used their mind. And that's the thing for me. Like, if I couldn't beat you physically, I'd try to beat you mentally. And then, you know, just try to work it that way. I always tried to find the advantage, and you know, I studied a lot to understand who I was playing each and every week.
Yeah, man, same here. Because I know in our series, you know, Richie was like, man, you got Geroy, you got Jason. Like, man, just leave me alone. I know what I need to do. You
Yeah,
know, but
yeah.
I enjoyed it, man, and thank you for that, man. You know, it wasn't a trick question, then, because I told Scott, like, you were one of the best people I went against in the CFL. You know, so I thank you for adding me in that conversation as well, man. I really do.
For sure.
Hey, Jack, when I came up here in 2004, I just got up here, so I didn't really know any, you know, a lot of the players. And the first game, I wasn't playing, and so the team went on the road, and we were playing at NBC, and it was a close game, and Geroy killing us, and I'm like, man, he was killing Shannon Garrett, murdering him, and I'm just like, man, but I didn't know who he was, I didn't know his credentials. Yeah. But then I was like, then I saw him a couple times. I was like, okay, all right. But yeah, I'll never get that, because you're the first person that caught my eye, because he was killing us. Like every it was like every crucial play, and yeah, it was, you know, I gave Shannon some slack after I, you know, seeing who he was going against.
That was my mindset though. Like, you know, in the end, I wanted the ball in the crucial situations, and you know, if I was open, they better throw it to me, because I was like, you know, I'm working this hard to get open, and I'm pretty much a sure bet. If you throw it, I'm gonna catch it, and that was always my mindset going into it. It's like, you know, if you have trust in me to throw it, you know, just know that I'm gonna give you everything I can to make the catch and keep us on the field.
Absolutely, absolutely, man, absolutely. So, in your new role as a general manager with the Maryland Terps, you're overseeing a massive forward-thinking accounts. As you said, a new revenue just started July the 1st. And so in doing that, how is the strategy reshaping, you know, Maryland's competitive edge, and what has it been the biggest part of it? Operational hurdle, but also making sure getting it off the ground, being competitive. And as you said, budget wise, because in budget, that means you got to put talent in certain places, and you can't get it all. You can't keep it all. You're going to have to release some. You're going to bring some in. How does that look for you as a GM role?
The funny thing is, you know, being a general manager in the Canadian Football League really, really prepared me for coming to the college landscape, because I'm coming to a world that they have no idea of how to operate. It's all new to, you know, college or NCAA administrators, and coaches and personnel people. So I was really prepared coming into this job and this opportunity because I'd worked under a salary cap system. I distributed funds to different positions and different players, and I also had the ability to take money away when a player wasn't performing at the rate that they need to. So I really came into this with the business mindset that I'd been in this space for such a long time, playing, being a general manager in Canadian football, being a scout, being and even a player. So I understand it from all sides, and that's the thing that gives me the competitive advantage is that I understand, every side of the conversation when I'm sitting down with an individual, an agent, or a parent. So in the end, being in the Big Ten, it's the Big Ten is probably the most competitive conference in college athletics right now. And I know that it's debatable with the SEC, but college football in the Big Ten, college basketball, men's basketball and women's basketball is such a competitive league that, we have to, one, distribute the $20.5 million that we have, but then we also have to compete with Michigan, compete with Ohio State, compete with Oregon, and you have your 20.5 as far as revenue share, then you have your NIL money. So you have to, distribute that money in the right way to get the return on investment that you're putting out and get it at the highest level possible.
So, if I may, I'm sorry, but I know you may have a question. Can you share with the public like what you just said? Because see, what these parents don't understand, they think, oh, NIL, my son, my daughter, we gonna get some money. Nah, this is contract negotiations.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is, Scott. Like
Yeah.
understanding your work, understanding, right? Like you said, you got a salary cap. There's only so much that allotment that's allowed. It's this. So please tell the public as much as you can without giving away your business secrets.
Mm-hmm.
The process of going through, like you said, getting the funding, understanding the salary, understanding, like you said, the NIL, because it is two totally separate things.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? So please share, if you may, processes and letting these parents know, hey, even if you're on scholarship, it's still a process. Even you're getting this, it's still a process, and you're responsible for.
Yeah. So in college athletics now, the schools and the universities that have opted into the into the agreement to pay student athletes under revenue share, that's the universities are paying a portion of their revenues to the student athletes, and it's 22%. So the total is 20.5 million for the 25-26 year. 26-27 is a little bit higher. It's a 4% increase. So as a student athlete, there's a few different ways where you can get paid. You get your scholarship and you have your scholarship money. Then you have your revenue share, and that's a part of the house settlement where we're allowed to pay student athletes. Then there's NIL, and NIL is basically your name, image, likeness. So all of these things are basically, we're paying for a student athlete's name, image, and likeness. So the scholarship, because you're a student athlete that we identified that can come in and help us, try to win games in whatever sport. Then you have your revenue share, and that's where we actually put together a standard contract, and we negotiate that contract to say you're gonna represent the University of Maryland, and we're gonna pay you X amount for your name, image, and likeness. But that's the revenue share side of it. Now, the actual NIL is where, say, a Pepsi or an Under Armour or Gatorade is going to come in, and they're going to pay for your name, image, and likeness on top of your scholarship and your revenue share contract. So there's a number of different ways that student athletes are getting paid now. I'm responsible for the revenue share part of it, and I do dabble in the NIL side of it just because I work with contracts all day and negotiate contracts and manage the salary cap, because with the revenue share, there is a salary cap that's allotted to each team, each position, each player that's deserving of said contract. And everybody doesn't get paid.
As I was about to say, everybody, and it's a tier system, and everybody does not get paid.
Exactly.
I was just about to say that. Good.
Exactly.
Yes. So for those who are watching this and who will watch this, understand the business is the game and the game is the business. So understand the game and the business. So for parents who are coming in, for guys who are NIL certified, who really don't know, student athletes, please do your research. Understand what you got, understand where your funding and everything is coming from. And then you got to understand your worth. You got to be able to negotiate. So yeah, man, thank you for sharing that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
That was, man. It's perfect how it's just funny, man. They say, you tell God your plans and he'll laugh at you. And it's how you were in a position, it groomed you perfectly for this job.
Mm-hmm.
And one door shut, another one open, a better opportunity, right? And but talk about your experience as an assistant general manager with the Edmonton Elks, and then moving up to the general manager role. What would you do anything different? And I'll start with that, and I have a couple more. But yeah, would you do anything different?
I mean, the thing is, I was given a great opportunity, and I'll start with that. I was given a great opportunity because I felt like I was in BC and I wasn't progressing. I felt like I was on the treadmill and I didn't have, the upward mobility. So I felt like I had to move on from that situation. And Chris Jones gave me a great opportunity to come to Edmonton and be his assistant general manager. Now, with that came a lot. It entailed, I knew that. I knew that I was going to be essentially thrown into the fire, and I had a lot of responsibility, and I wore a lot of different hats. And I'm deeply indebted to Chris Jones for giving me that opportunity. The way that things were run there, I necessarily can't say that I would have done more, because as the assistant general manager, you answer to the head coach and general manager, who was Chris, and then also had a president who, and Victor Cui. So there wasn't much that I could do, other than maybe, stand on the table for a couple players that we cut that I felt like we shouldn't have cut. But, you can only do that so much with your boss, and you can only disagree with him so much. But in the end, the general manager, the president, they run the show, and we can have our opinions, and you can express those opinions when the time is right. But at the same time, you can't stand on the table for everything that you believe in when you think things are going haywire. Regardless of that, everything that I did as an assistant general manager was with integrity, was with compassion. So, when we cut a guy, I made sure that I brought him into the office and talked to him face to face, and made sure he was on a flight, on a good flight home, and made sure he had money in his pocket when he left. And I tried to do things with class when everything else was going haywire. And then, to be pushed and to be put in the chair of general manager, I think I showed what I can do when I'm sitting in that chair, because we went from 0-5 to basically we won seven of our last 11 games, and we were last in offense, last in passing, last in touchdowns. We ended the season where we led the league in rushing by 100 yards. We led the league in touchdown passes. We were second in the league in passes, and we were one game away from, getting in the playoffs after starting essentially 0-7. So I felt like I was basically thrown into the fire, thrown to the wolves, and I got painted with the brush that was for someone else. But I knew what I was getting into, and I knew that it was going to be an opportunity for me to have the next opportunity. I knew that I wasn't going to be in Edmonton, long term, but I knew that I had to take that step and walk through that fire to get to the next opportunity. Just like here at Maryland. Maybe I'll be here at Maryland forever. Maybe I won't. But it's the steps in the process that's preparing me for what I'm doing now. It was chaos in Edmonton, but it's chaos in college football and college basketball. So when everybody else is scrambling, this is old news to me. Like, I'm prepared for this. I'm prepared for this game. So when there's 10,000 guys in the transfer portal, I've already went through and found 150 guys that we can look at and that we can prepare for. So when that day comes, we can say to all our guys, hey, look at this group of receivers, look at this group of running backs, look at this group of linemen. We're already prepared because I've been through this. Like I said, I've done this for such a long time that I was prepared for it. So although my experience in Edmonton was hell, it was needed. It was something that prepared me for what I'm doing now. That, like, when I talk to other GMs, they're scrambling, and I'm like, hey man, I've been through this. Right. I've been through this. Yeah. I've lived this life for a long time. I've seen
this movie before, huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
So honestly, man, like, I thank Chris Jones for giving me the opportunity. I think the Edmonton Elks for giving me an opportunity, and I know that there's been things said about our time there, but again, I'm painted with the brush because I was a part of the organization. But in the end, when I left the Edmonton Elks, it was in a better position than when I got there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you brought in guys like Rankin, Yeah, right.
I mean, if you want to look, you want to look at my track record, look at the top guys in the CFL right now.
Yeah,
Justin Rankin, Nathan Rourke, Kenny Lawler.
There it is.
What can you say about because regardless of what anybody says, I was at Kenny Lawler's pro day. Nobody knew about Kenny Lawler. Everybody there was for Jared Goff. I brought Justin Rankin to Edmonton, from the Arena League when everybody forgot about him. And Nathan Rourke, we drafted Nathan in the CFL, and nobody was drafting Canadian quarterbacks. We were the first one to do that. And I wanted to take him in the first round as opposed to the second round, but we did it.
Yeah, dog too. Yeah, no man, that's the I didn't know that. I didn't know about Kenny Lawler. You were at the pro day. Yeah,
yes, sir.
He's special. He's special, man.
He's the best receiver in the league.
And Rankin is he's tearing it up right now. Like
that kid has a heart. He has a heart of gold, man. He's one of the toughest kids I've been around, and he's going to do it for a long time. They just got to keep him healthy.
Mm-hmm. And that must make you feel like good and proud of those guys that you were a part of getting them to fulfill their dream, and now to see them flourish like that, man. Especially a guy like Rankin, such a good guy. That's pretty awesome to see, man.
Yes, sir.
And just one question, Victor, who was the president, just so in that position, is he making football decisions?
No.
Or no? Okay, I was figuring. No. Yeah, that's what I figured. And then I just wanted to hit on the name change, like your feelings on that when he changed from the Eskimos to the Elks, and also the departure of Dwayne, who was Mandrusiak, who was obviously going into almost year 50. He actually just celebrated him, so shout out to him for 50 years. Obviously brought him back. Like, what was your take on that, the name change, and obviously the departure of Dwayne?
I mean, the history of the Edmonton Eskimos is synonymous with the CFL, and although I didn't agree with it, I was in BC when that happened, but I knew that was a sour point for everybody in Edmonton, and that was a battle that no matter what we did, we couldn't change that. So and we heard about it essentially every day. It was a a tough thing, a tough hurdle to try to get over. But again, it's a learning experience, and you can take that as a sour point, or you can just take it as a learning experience. That's almost like changing the name of the Yankees or changing the name of the New York Knicks. Changing the Eskimos to the Elks. So that was a tough one. And then Dwayne, that was also right before I got there. But a lot of people don't realize that we tried to bring Dwayne back when we got there, Chris and I, and he refused to do it. So he still had his gripes with the organization, which I totally understand. I mean, you put in that much time, and you put in that much effort to only be cast out at your 49th year. That's a tough one to deal with.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely, man. Definitely.
Yeah. I got one more question, and it was crazy because what you said prior to this statement or this particular, as you was talking about the recruiting, one of the things is with the new structure, you're essentially managing, multiple salary caps and whatever in sports that you're doing. The crazy thing about that is player contracts, it's analytical models, very similar to the professional franchises, right? So my question is, how do you balance data-driven analytics because you said it, and that's why I'm like, this is perfect. Data-driven analytics other than human recruiting, because there is a difference. Because you said, I got the guys, I got 150 guys here. You can show the data, the analytics, but the eye, you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
What's the difference, and how do you view that, and what's the best way as far as retaining young athletes?
So the thing is, you have to trust your eyes more than anything. So you have to put in work, regardless of what the analytics say. You have to trust that what you see is what you're going to get in a player. Analytics can do a lot of different things. So the thing is, analytics are great, but you have to use it as a tool. It can't be the end all be all. So you have to use it as a tool to give you information to make the best decision possible. So for me, I just wanted to, I always just, use analytics as a tool, but, trust my eyes and when it comes down to it and watch, because every player is not going to be perfect. You have to essentially look at what that player is going to bring to your team and, see if that fits within what you need to be successful.
Absolutely. And I tell people all the time, because Scott know, like, I still look at people and people will send me film like, Jackie, look at this. I can't play, man, or he can't play, and I'm just being honest, Geroy, because like you say, your eyes are never lied. Whether you've seen it, it happens, and now it's up to you to decipher, like you said, the value, can he help us, or get on down the street. So that's once again, for you guys watching this video, watching this podcast, trust and believe it's many eyes that are on you. It's analytics, it's data out there on you. You still got to make the play.
That's right.
You still got to put the work in. You still got to fall in love with the process. So the game ain't really changed. As I said, football is 100 years old. So please understand, young athletes and guys who are in this business, you still got to put the work in. You can pass the eye test. You come in, you're looking great. You did, but what comes with that? Like you said, everyone's going to have some faults. Everyone's not going to be here, but the work is what coaches are looking for. The attitude, the commitment, those things are the essence, and also the additions that these collegiate coaches are seeking as young student athletes. So thanks for sharing that as well.
That's right. And that's where the scouting, being a scout and being on the road, you have to ask the probing questions. You have to talk to not only the position coaches, but you talk to the trainers, you talk to the equipment managers, you talk to agents, and then if you ask the right questions, you'll get the answers that you need to make the right decision.
Absolutely. And most people are afraid of those hard questions, Geroy. Don't. It's like, hey man, you listen. You can't sell me a Cadillac with a Volkswagen engine. You know what I'm saying? So and that's the thing, man. Yeah. So I pray that whoever sees this really grasps this, because everybody can play. So what separates you?
That's
You
right.
see what I'm saying? That's the thing.
That's right.
Everybody can play. You wouldn't be in college if you couldn't play. You wouldn't be in this if you couldn't play. Now, as Geroy said, are you a character guy? Are you a team guy? Do
That's
you
right.
respect the organization? You back here, like we say with T-Bone and Tyrone, smoking and drinking, you know. Are you even getting the training segments on time? All those things matter because for those who will watch, like Coach Simon said, if I can't count on you, how you expect me to pay you?
That's right.
If you can't show up for the meeting,
That's right.
I expect us to invest in you. Like you're my investment. So man, I pray they get this tool and understanding that you're giving them, man. I really, really do. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, man.
For sure.
As we start to wind this thing down, man. Obviously, man, you had to. I can't imagine, what you went through with the tragic situation that happened in 2017. Like man, you got some calluses built on you, man. Just as I learn more about you, like how do I don't think it's obviously there's no blueprint, but and I kind of bring this up just because other people are going through similar situations, and like how do you make it through and then come through on the other side?
Yeah, in the end, man, like, we're all fighting battles. And some battles we can see, some battles we can't. And, my wife, I've been with her for 17 years. And for 16 years, I didn't know that she was fighting a battle. And to lose her the way that I lost her, it was terrible. It was terrible for me. It was terrible for my kids. It was terrible for our family. It was terrible for our community because people say that, you get over it, or you get over it within a year or two, but you never get over it. You just learn how to deal with it. You learn how to live with it, and it doesn't, crush you each and every day. The best thing I did was I went to counseling. I went to counseling every day for 6 months. Every single day for 6 months. I went to counseling, and then I continued counseling once a week, and then I went once a month, and now I go every time I think I need it. But I also surrounded myself with really good people, people who cared about me and cared about my family. And now the crazy thing is, my wife, that's how I actually met my wife, because she went through something similar. And she ended up, we were just supposed to be support for one another. And then we ended up dating, and next thing you know, we were together every day. Now we're married. But the crazy thing is now I'm actually helping people who have gone through those situations. And I don't blast it publicly or put it out. But I try to be an advocate for, someone who's dealing with losing someone tragically to suicide. And it's, it's a tough situation, but in the end, you don't try to help by trying to solve the problem. You just help by being a supportive person and being a supportive, be a support system for people who have gone through it. And, you never heal from it. We still have our tough days, and, April 28th is always going to be a tough day for me and my family and my kids. But, it's a day that happened, and, regardless of what happens, it doesn't define you. Just like my football career doesn't define me. It's a chapter in the puzzle. It's a chapter in the book. And, it's something that I went through. It's something that I deal with, and it'll stay with me forever. But in the end, we keep working. We keep, at times I didn't think I was going to make it through it, but I just took one step at a time, one day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time. And I finally got to a point where I was back to being myself, but not only being myself, but being myself in a stronger way. And that's where I can go through different things, because the struggles that I went through, in my prior years, like you said, you get callous to a lot, and it makes you strong. If you go through it the right way, you have faith, you trust in God that they're not going, that He's not going to put you in a situation that you can't handle. You just, you come out stronger.
Yeah. And I appreciate you sharing that, man. Just the counseling aspect. Started doing the counseling a few months ago, and I said, man, I wish I should have been doing this. Just how it's crazy, but you know, in our community, growing up, people, if somebody with a counselor, they were like, oh, they looked at you as like crazy or something, or
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
wasn't talked about. Where I think now I'm a huge advocate for it, and
Mhm.
you're starting to see a lot of different celebrities talk about it, how much it's helping them, and still to this day, you have people, oh, I don't need to go to count. Man, just from the way we, you know, certain individuals grew up. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
You know, we don't realize how much our childhood affects us, right?
That's
And
right.
so it's just, yeah, man, we need it, man, and it's been amazing for me. So I thank you for sharing that, man. This is our last one, man. We always ask all our guests this question, right? I guess first of all, man, congratulations on you know, making the 5-0 club. You know, me and
Yeah.
Jackie right there with you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
November 6th, I'll be there.
It's going down.
But we still going strong though, man. We still going strong.
Man.
But hey, look, if you were sitting down as a 50-year-old Geroy Simon, and you're looking at 17-year-old Geroy Simon, and you having a conversation, like, what does that look like? And what's the best advice you give them?
Man, I mean, I've had so many great things happen to me. I would say cherish the moments more, be present in the moment, because I have accomplishments, and I'm always looking for the next thing. I'm always, you know, looking to be bigger and better, and do something at a higher level. I would say for me to stay present in the moment more, and just cherish the little moments, whether it's you know, walking on the field walking on Taylor Field, walking on BC Place, you know, cherish those moments, because they're fleeting. You know, you think they're gonna last forever, but they don't. You know, I played 17 years, and I played a lot of different, played in a lot of different stadiums, and met a lot of great people. But I wish I would have cherished some of those moments. The big moments, I wish I'd have cherished them more, as opposed to just moving on to the next one. But other than that, man, I wouldn't change a thing, man. I had some, you know, I had some tough times, but again, that only prepared me for what I'm doing now, and where I'm going now, as well as the tough moments, and the good moments. You know, they prepare you, because, you know, when you have success, a lot of people can have success, and they can't go get past that either, because they don't, you know, that essentially becomes their identity, and they can't move on past what they've done in the past. So, you know, I have a lot of accomplishments, but I have a lot of callous, and neither one define me. They're just, like I said, they're just a chapter in the book, and they're giving me the opportunity to keep going forward, and keep, you know, not only having success for myself, but for my family, and for the people around me.
Yeah, man. Well said. Well said, man. Jackie, you can chime in this up before we wrap it up.
Yeah, man. I just want to say thank you, Geroy. I really do, man. I want to say thank you. I feel everything you spoke of is really what this Dreams podcast is about. Even the last, you know, verse that you said, because that's the biggest thing. That was my thought process in building Dreams podcast with Scott. Um, it is an identity for many of us. When those lights go off, those crowds stop cheering, those women stop running up to you, those checks stop coming. Who are you? And
That's
many of
right.
them have not figured that out. They have not figured it out, and it's so, to your point, like the counseling. Hey, get you some counseling. It doesn't make you less as a man. It doesn't bother, because you're trying to put yourself in a place of betterment, but also the mental maturation that we speak of. They say most men develop later than women. I just think that's because we're set in a mental mind, you know, provide, take care of the family. So it's almost like you become a robot. How do you turn that off? When do
That's
you get
right.
it? Turn that off. You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
So, man, I just want to thank you for coming on, you know, with the full transparency. But also, I want to say congratulations to your new wife, man, because to be in the position that you were in, for her to say, you know what, we gonna do this together. For you to be like, hey, this is someone who sees me, who's also, and because many people can, this trauma bonding. Many people can do that from trauma bonding, but for
Oh,
you
yeah.
to see that, notice that, for her to see you and see you, and you to see her past the pain, past the hurt, past the incidents. Hey, man, I just say congratulations to you both, man, and just doing what you're doing, man. Maryland's are in great hands, So from me, from Scott, for any of the CFL players out there, we got the best that's ever done it right here on Dreams Podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure, Geroy, man. So
Hey,
I wish you guys success this season, man, and congratulations.
yeah. Hey, Jack,
Thank you.
they say men lie, women lie, but numbers don't.
Numbers
So,
don't.
hey, Jim, you say, hey, I'm not saying I'm the best, but
Hey,
that's
you
it
feel it
is what it
change?
is.
Feel it
Hey,
change?
You know what? My thing is, like, I don't brag and boast about my numbers.
No.
I let other
Yeah.
people do it for me.
Yeah,
Right,
for
right.
sure. Definitely.
Like I
Yeah.
say,
Well,
wasn't I knew something to say? Let them know. Let them know, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, where can people follow you on social media?
I mean, Geroy Simon. I mean, on Facebook, Geroy Simon on Twitter, Geroy Simon, or Geroy_Simon, because I got hacked on Twitter, but Geroy Simon on Instagram. That's all I got. I don't got TikTok and all the other ones. But yeah, man, it's pretty simple. The good thing is, being named Geroy, there's only one other Geroy that I've ever met in the world, and that's my dad. So,
Just
you know,
that.
I got a pretty unique name.
There we go, man. Well, shoots, man. Dreams Podcast, Locker Room to Reality. Hey,
Absolutely.
we were fortunate we had the best to ever do it in the Canadian Football League, and that's a fact. So, man, from Jackie, from myself, man, thank you. We're out of here.
I appreciate you. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.